Hey everybody, welcome to Something to Talk About, and my name's Taco, and that's it. Good show. Welcome to yet another Song of Ice and Fire lore video. I'm trying to make these intros shorter, so I'm gonna speed through it. Like, subscribe if you haven't. I have an entire playlist of a bunch more of these Song of Ice and Fire characters. I cover kind of lesser known characters. I'm getting a little more and more known. I used to call them one paragraph characters, but this guy definitely isn't a one paragraph character. And probably like 3 paragraphs. So you already made it a long intro. But you're not going to find these characters in the show or any of the shows or anything like that. I might be doing more. I did the Muppet Tullies who will be in the House of Dragon season 2 or 3, hopefully in season 2. They were mentioned already. Well, one of them was. Anyways, this isn't about no Muppets. This isn't about no Tullies. This is about an Arryn. And let's talk about Ronnel Arryn. So I love this story, and we get some cool symbolism to talk about later. So do I have anything else to talk about? No? Should I just get into it? I do these all one take, no editing, just boom, 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 so you can kind of get a good improv feel, and yeah. So if you wonder why I say a lot, it's because everybody else edits out their ums. I don't. All right, let's talk about Ronnel Arryn. Ronnel Arryn was the last king of Mountain and Vale, reigning until the invasion of Westeros by Aegon the Conqueror. That's right, this kid was a king. So this story starts right at Aegon's conquest. So if you want to know when we're getting going, right, literally beginning of Fire and Blood, right? So like a little less negative AC. So before the conquest, BC, one might say. All right, so he was only a boy. The ruler of the Vale, the ruling of the Vale, fell to his mother, Queen Regent Shara Arryn, who was regarded as one of the most beautiful women of Westeros. And I think we're supposed to. I said thinks about. God, I love mistakes. It's what makes these videos human. We're supposed to think about Sweet Robin and Lysa Arryn here, the young lord / king. He's a king. Robin Arryn's a lord. With the strong mother acting as regent, although Lysa was neither strong nor one of the most beautiful women of Westeros. It's true. But I kind of George Lucas-y, right? George R. R. Martin kind of likes to rhyme a lot. So when you look at some of the history stuff of like Fire and Blood or World of Ice and Fire, you kind of see a lot of connections. And this is one of them. So the last king and first lord of the Vale is a lot like the one during the Game of Thrones books and, well, Song of Ice and Fire books and, you know, the modern times, the main series, if you will. So he's not sickly, though, like Sweet Robin, but he is a child and his mother is essentially ruling for him at the point of conquest. So let's dial back a little. Let's just learn about House Arryn. House Arryn of the Eyrie is one of the great houses of Westeros and is one of the principal houses in the Vale of Arryn. Their main seat is the Eyrie, which is considered unpregnable. I mean, if you ask Bronn, a guy named Sir 20 Goodman could impregnate the bitch, but that's his wording. House Arryn has at least one other holding, their winter castle at the Gates of the Moon, which once was their main seat. Sorry, I'm struggling through my own writing. Both fortifications sit astride the Giant's Lance, the tallest mountain of the Vale. The Gates of the Moon is at its foot. The Eyrie is at its top, and their words are high as honor. So yeah, they got a summer home, right? So during spring, summer, and fall, they're way up on top of this mountain at the Eyrie, and it's really hard to get to it. Not only would an army struggle, but just people struggle. Right? You have to walk up a one-person path. You usually need like a shepherd to take you. And also, if you didn't want to go that way, then there's a cart that can take you, but it's literally just made for like freight. So it's awkward to sit in there, and a lot of people go the other way. But to think a army could get to it would be asinine. I mean, they'd literally be single file, and that's just not a thing. Okay, so they live up there during the spring, summer, and fall, and then down to the Gates of the Moon, which is another castle that you would even have to pass if you want to go up to the Eyrie. So yeah, that's a little about House Arryn. So let's talk about the last Arryn king. Sorry, which is good, Ronnel. After Aegon launched his invasion and made his intentions known to be the ruler of the 7 independent kingdoms of Westeros, Shara sent a portrait of herself to him and offered her hand in marriage, with the condition Aegon would make her son his heir. Aegon refused, being that he was already married to his sister wives. Targaryen's gonna Targaryen, yo. What, like I'm gonna marry one of the most beautiful women in Westeros? She's not related to me. Targaryens. Ugh. Gotta love them. Gotta love them. You don't gotta love any incestuous monarchs, even though they're gorgeous. The Vale scored a victory against the invaders in the battle off the waters of Goldtown. So that's what this art is depicting, by a guy named John McCambridge. And however, the Arryn fleet was destroyed. The Lord of the Vale faced a new problem. And that's when the sister men revolted against the Eyrie. So yeah, the little tiny islands called the Three Sisters. I think there are three sisters. Maybe not the Three Sisters. No, I'm thinking of the Triarchies, the Three Sisters. They're just called the Sisters, which is in between the North and the Vale. So they kind of like switch hands, right? But currently and most prominently, they have belonged to the Vale. And pretty much whenever something goes down, they revolt. So the second Aegon's like, hey, I'm going to take you guys over, the sister men are like, okay, we're going to be independent again. Nope, not going to work. So what do you got here? You have this big battle at sea, and they lost a bunch of men due to Visenya's dragon, but they still ultimately won. And now you have Shara Arryn is amassing her big army, right? So let's get to the next chapter, which is The King Who Flew. I love that art. As the regions of Westeros fell to Aegon, as all the other ones, not all the other ones, but, some of them, Ronald's mother Shara amassed a great army at the Bloody Gate. So that's like the entrance to the Vale. Excuse me again, I should get some water. However, Aegon sent Visenya, who already just burnt a bunch of ships at the battle off of Galtown, to the Eyrie atop her dragon Vhagar. You guys remember Vhagar from House of the Dragon? This is his first known rider, is Visenya's. So, or her. She's usually called a she-dragon. It would be Aemon, One Eye's dragon in House of the Dragon. So this was, 130 years earlier, so Vhagar's probably not as massive at this point, but still, in this art, definitely not small. And when you don't have a dragon, small dragons are still scary, right? So yeah, atop Vhagar, and then when the Queen Regent returned to the Eyrie, so imagine she's sitting at the Gates of the Moon, not the Gates of the Moon, at the Bloody Gate, with all this huge army, the entire Knights of the Vale, right? And then a dragon flies over them, and she's like, oh no, and just goes right to the Eyrie. So she has to be like, crap, and gets up to the Eyrie. So when she returned to the Eyrie, she found her son, Ronnel Arryn, that's who we're talking about, sitting on Visenya's lap, asking if he could ride the dragon with Visenya. Shara knew that she had lost the war just like that, and he flew with her. So she said yes, go ahead, and he flew as a king and landed as a lord. And afterwards, Shara bent the knee. So that is checkmate, right? You already won one battle. You got this giant army, right? And then the dragon flies over you. You go up there, and the king, your son, is sitting on this psycho woman's lap. And he's like, can I ride the dragon? And if you're like, no, she'll go, okay, well, then I'm just going to feed him to the dragon. So she's just like that. Visenya wins the war, doing nothing. Just like, all right, I'm not even going to pay attention to chessboard. I'm going to reach around and just take your king, just like that. Literally, that's what she did. The Arryns were declared Wardens of the East and Defenders of the Vale, and so ended the last reign of the Kings of the Mountain Vale. So Ronnel Arryn was the final king and the first lord, and that's why he was known as the King Who Flew. One of the reasons, hint, hint, because he flew on Dragonback with Visenya. So let's talk about the Lord of the Vale. Ronnel became Lord of the Vale during the reign of King Aegon and the Conqueror, a position held throughout the Conqueror's 37-year reign. So he is the Lord of the Vale throughout the entire reign of the first king. So all that 37. So Queen Rhaenys? Yeah, Rhaenys Targaryen, the other sister wife, arranged the marriage of Lord Ronnel to the daughter of Lord Torrhen Stark. So he got to marry a Stark. It's another kind of weird parallel, right? Because, like, Robin has, like, a thing for Sansa. Maybe it's not a huge parallel, but, you know, you get a little bit of Arryn and Stark marrying there. That's pretty cool. Good old Lord Torrhen, the king who knelt. All right, so here's the King Who Flew again, and I know there's a lot of words here, but I'm trying to get this whole thing done in just a couple. Upon the death of Aegon the Conqueror and the accession of the weak King Aenys, rebellion broke out in Westeros, including the Vale. So I already did do a video of for Sam. No, I will be doing a video for Savage Sam Tarly. I didn't already do one. I will be doing one. And that will be talking about another rebellion that happened during this time. So when Aenys takes over, there's like a bunch of rebellions at once. And this is one of them, one in the Vale. So, so Ronnel's own brother, Jonos Arryn, rose in rebellion against him, and Ronnel was imprisoned. And usurped. Yeah, so he's imprisoned by his little... And his title, sorry. I made these words too small. He was imprisoned, his title usurped by Jonos. So Jonos became, I think, called himself king, right? So House Royce of Runestone, who I love, by the way, led by Lord Allard Royce, gathered the forces to sweep away Jonos and his supporters, pinning him at the Eyrie. Ronnel was executed by his brother, who had him flung through the Moon Door. There you go, guys. That was our hero. He was a little kid, and then he's an adult, and now he's getting tossed out the Moon Door. It's nuts. So, earning him the nickname. So, he was already, Ronnel was killed by Jonos, and it earned Jonos the nickname of Kinslayer. So he was called Jonos the Kinslayer after that. Ronnel's death added a dark twist to the nickname the King Who Flew, right? Because he was the king who flew on the back of Vhagar, and then he was murdered by being tossed out the Moon Door. And the language that they use when they say that is fly, let the little man fly. Remember that? And from the first couple seasons of Game of Thrones, when season 1, when Tyrion shows up at the Vale and little Robin Arryn goes, let the little man fly. It's about flight. That's the wordage. And pay attention to that, because we're going to talk about that. So one last paragraph here. Jonos and his men remained defiant until the Prince Maegor flew to the Eyrie upon Balerion the Black Dread. Jonos' followers, knowing that they could not defeat Maegor the frickin' Cruel and turn on their leader, Jonos shared the same fate as Ronnel and was flung through the Moon Door. So he's the other king who flew. His men hoped that by surrendering, Prince Maegor would show them mercy. But of course, this is Maegor the frickin' Cruel, not Maegor the frickin' Merciless, right? Or merciful. Maegor's mercy was having them hanged instead of burned alive, which is a bit of a mercy. This is the type of dude who gets in an argument with somebody, and then by the end of it, he has somebody like dismember them, right? So the fact that he just hung them is probably actually not a bad deal when you're dealing with friggin' Maegor the insane. So that's the story of Ronnel Arryn. I got more. Don't go anywhere. I want to talk about symbolism, everybody's favorite thing. So yeah, he's the king who flew and the king who flew twice. It's like king who flew and the lord who flew, because he was the lord when he gets tossed out the moon door. So let's talk about this moon door symbolism. So moon door and Bran symbolism. So the moon door being made of weirwood. So keep in mind, it's not the moon door of the Game of Thrones TV show where it's a circle, like the floor, it opens up. No, this is like a gigantic door on the wall, and you open it up, and it's a huge weirwood door, right? Weirwood. Think about this for a second. So it's made of weirwood, and the language they use is flight. So it's like being used as the act of going through it is flying. It really makes me think of Greensight and Bran Stark, of touching their weirwood and learning how to fly, right? Because when he seeks Bloodraven and he goes, will I ever walk again? And Bloodraven goes, no, you will fly. And then in season 1, book 1, he's falling and the raven's trying to tell him, fly, I can't fly, fly. Greensight has a lot of flight symbolism in it, right? And also it's tied to the weirwood. So there's this really weird Bran falling from the weirwood, or falling from, like Bran, weirwood, and flight and falling symbolism going on. And I don't know if he did it for any real reason. And I don't know if the Arryns have any Greensight. I do know certain tinfoil hat theorists in the community do think that that Sweet Robin is a green seer. I don't subscribe upon that. But yeah, so that's kind of this really cool connection of it being a weirwood. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you. And that's my Ronnel Arryn video. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. This is a really cool one. I've been wanting to talk about him. And yeah, it's a little bit of cool history on one little corner of Westeros during the War of Conquest, during Aegon's conquest. So there we go. That's it. If you guys have any characters who are not very prominent, let me know that you want me to cover. If they're POV characters in any of the main books, or if they are prominent in any of the TV shows that we've already seen, I probably won't cover them. But if you have any more lesser known characters that you really like or you want to learn more about, ask. And I'll give a nice little summary and then my own thoughts. So there you go. Click like, subscribe, all that stuff. And there should be some videos popping up here. Go find, other characters I've covered and watch them. And also check out my Song of Ice and Fire Pokemon typing video, which is really fun. So there you guys go. Stay away from the Moon Door. And if you have a brother named Jonos, he's probably going to murder you.